Awkward silence. Oh no, you caught me at the end of the silence part. Oops. Hi everyone, welcome to Legal Lunch and Learn, a weekly live show where we ask an expert your questions on a legal topic. My name is Cindy. I am an attorney here at Maryland Legal Aid, and with me today and co-host my show is Charles Long, our paralegal, also with CLI. So of course, if you have an immediate legal issue, make sure you're contacting us. Our email here is lawyer@mdlab.org. So that's LAWYER at mdlab.org. Our phone number here is 443-451-2805. Anytime you watch our videos, just because you do take some legal advice from us, it does not establish an attorney-client relationship between you, any of the attorneys that you see on the show, or with Maryland Legal Aid. So if you do need to talk to a lawyer, our services is free. So make sure you're contacting us for one-on-one legal advice. And for those who do need captions, we do upload these videos onto YouTube, and we will be making a post about them when the videos are uploaded. And that's thanks to our production engineer, Alex Chase, who works behind the scenes. So today's topic is going to be very much client focused. So for people who are not attorneys and for people who are maybe thinking that they maybe need help from Maryland Legal Aid, and the topic is going to be very expungement focused as well. So let's just get it started, Charlie. I actually, you probably do more intake than I do during the pandemic. So before the pandemic, I definitely, did intake for my own clients. Could you just walk us through the intake process with CLI? And I want to emphasize that this is with the Community Lawyering Initiative at Maryland Legal Aid. So if you just call our legal aid main number, you might have a slightly different experience, but this is for, if you call the number that I say on the show every week. So go ahead, Charlie. Sorry, that was a weird segue. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Losing my Dutch.
So when you call CLI, for example, to do an intake, the intakes usually can take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the amount of information that we need from you, and also the amount of information that you want to give. A lot of the intake is pretty standard information. It's name, date of birth, your address, phone number, email, those kinds of things. We do also ask for the name and date of birth of any children you have under the age of 26, the name and date of birth of your spouse or ex-spouse if you were divorced, married, or divorced, and also the name of the other parent of those children that you have that are under 26. A lot of people ask, why do you need to know my kid's name? Why do you need to know their birthday? And a lot of it goes with protecting you and them in the future, just giving you protection in the future as a client. I gave this example maybe like 2 weeks ago because I don't think the person who called really understood. I was saying, you don't really want the Ravens coach to go coach for the Steelers at the same time that they're coaching for the Ravens, right?
What? Sorry, that goes over my head.
So you don't want your lawyer going to represent, your ex-husband further on down the line while they're representing you. That was the metaphor that I had, the analogy I had to make. There were tons of comic book references I could have made but didn't. But a lot of that just comes with protecting you as a client. We want to be representing you. So that's why we ask for that information. And because our services are free and we are trying to help low-income individuals, we do ask for some income information as well, household income information, whether or not you have any assets, things like that, because we are trying to help people who are trying to uplift themselves. Not to say that other people don't need uplifting, but some people can afford it. But with that said, sometimes people don't qualify because of their finances or because they do come up as a conflict in our system. When that happens, we don't just, wash our hands of you. We refer you to the people who can help. Sometimes, unfortunately, that is only a private attorney, but other times there are other outlets that people may or may not know about that can assist them. Um, I think this happened, probably the first month that I was working, where I did an intake and I had to refer them to someone else. And because I had the time, I always, I'm always here to help people. So I went on and I was like, oh, you go here, you fill out this application. And I actually just talked them through the application intake simply because I was like, we can't help you here, but I am going to find some way to help you.
Yep.
Um, so a lot of those are like some of the major qualifying things for intakes. After that, it gets into the more detailed part. We ask you more about your case. If it's an expungement case, if it's a custody case, anything like that. And when it comes to those detailed information parts, the more information you give us, the more we can do, the faster things go, the easier it is to get the process going, the more we can help.
Yep.
So that information might involve sending over paperwork from a custody hearing or the restriction order that the judge signed, something along those lines.
Yep.
Like I said, the faster we get those things in,
Yep.
the more information we have, the easier it is for us to go and navigate things and figure
Yep.
stuff out.
Yep. For expungement, so like really we don't need as much information. Like that's absolutely
No,
right for you're right. You don't need to get like a full background check sent to us. We
no.
can see that information, public
A,
record.
a lot
Yeah.
of the time with expungements, a lot of people are just like, I just need to get this stuff off my record so I can get a better job, which is pretty much all the information we need. Like, if you want to get a better job, okay, great, we're going to help you do that here.
Yeah.
So typically, once we get all that detailed information, it goes into a few demographic questions. Pretty standard again. Have you served in the military? Do you have a disability? Um, where did you find out about Maryland Legal Aid or CLI? Um, and beyond that, there are just a few rotating questions. Right now, those questions are about COVID. And there are some about the opioid epidemic. Those questions clients can choose to answer, they don't have to. I know a lot of people get very sensitive about those things after you've already spilled a lot of information to us. Um, but once that goes through, if you do qualify, on through the intake for your legal problem, financially, conflict wise, if you do qualify, your intake gets sent off to my supervisor, an amazing supervisor, Megan McDermott. She's awesome. It's totally helpful. And once that happens, she assigns you to an attorney who best fits your needs.
Yeah. I would say I think people do ask like what's the turnaround. I think if you call us, we try to return your phone call within like a day or two.
Mhm.
And I think attorney usually gets back to them, especially if it's expungement, because expungements are fast for us. We try to get back to you within a week or so. I don't think I've ever, waited more than 3 or 4 days before reaching out to a client and say, let's get this done for you. So um, once I'm just going to take over a little bit because
Yeah.
now it's in the hands of an attorney. And there's a few of us, so it's not like, oh, you had to wait until Cindy's free to talk to you kind of thing. Like we do have many attorneys at CLI who do expungements. So once it goes to an attorney, we'll reach out, give you a call. Please pick up the phone. um, and I would say if you have an email address, make sure you leave it with who are contacting you for intake or with your attorney. I have noticed that emails tend to go a little bit faster, really just because we have so many documents to send around. Um, so what the attorneys do is that we will look on case search, looking at your criminal record on case search, determine what's eligible for expungement, and when we give you the call, each person does this differently, but I tend to look at before I make the call. So when I make the call, I can be like, well, here's the cases that are eligible for expungement. Here are the cases that are not, and here's why not. And then I fill out the expungement petitions for my client. So and then mail that to my client for signature. Um, So if you've been a client before and that's why you're watching this video, you'll know I also send, other documents like a retainer, which is our formal document saying we're taking you on as a client, and we send over a citizenship attestation, which is required, unfortunately, by our grant, because for our grant, at least, there are many different grants that hold up the entity that is Maryland Legal Aid. But for our grant, at least, we only serve people who are citizens or people who are here on a permanent basis with a green card or have a student visa. So that's why we have to get those documents. So once you get them, mail your signed petitions and document back to us, and we'll file that for you. And Charlie, I don't know if you have any other thing to add in terms of filing or expectations around that.
Um, just just get the paperwork back to us as soon as possible because, like I said already, the faster we get that paperwork back, the faster this process goes. The quicker you can get those things expunged off your record, the quicker you can get into that job or
Yeah.
that line of work that you really want.
Yeah, absolutely. And we include, oh, I forgot to say, we include a prepaid envelope for you to mail stuff. You don't even have to, because I never have any stationery in my house. I probably do. I probably have 600 envelopes somewhere where I keep on thinking I'll put this somewhere I know I will come back to find it and then forget that it's there. Then I
In the
had to
job.
go buy more envelopes. So yeah, we'll send you a prepaid envelope with our return address on it. You don't even have to handwrite anything. You just sign. You read the documents, you sign it, put it in back envelope, and we file. So from then it kind of the turnaround once we do file your expungement kind of is different depending on which jurisdiction your case is in. So for the bigger counties like Baltimore County, PG County, Baltimore City, the turnaround for the courts it tend to be longer. We're talking about at least months. Just because they have so many cases to handle. Smaller county like Somerset, Allegheny, Queen Mary. I don't know. I don't think I can name all the counties off the top of my head. But so for the smaller counties, turnaround tends to be quick. um, so once that happens, so how do you know? When my case is expunged, your petition goes in front of the judge, usually in chambers, and the judge will look at it and decide, okay, this. Oh, hold on, back up. Before your petition even gets to a judge, a notification is sent to the state's attorney. So if you have a criminal charge, you probably know you deal with prosecutors that they're called state's attorneys. They will take a look if they think, oh, no, this case is not eligible for expungement. They will formally do what's called an objection within 30 days and say, this is why we don't think it's eligible for expungement. If there's an objection, then we might have to go to court and go in front of a judge and explain, no, our position is why this is eligible for expungement. And you give the prosecutor an opportunity to say why they disagree. And then the judge makes a decision. And that's if it goes sort of wrong. Best case scenario, prosecutor look at it, go, yep, we agree, it's eligible for expungement. Then they don't say anything. It goes from a judge. The judge signs what's called an expungement order or order for expungement, and they will mail that to you. So when you start getting those letters, that's how you know things are coming off of your record. And just timeline wise, because of COVID, everything has slowed down. So right now we're looking at um, if things come off of your record from case search, and you get a order saying that your case will be expunged, things will come off case search faster. However, if you're doing a fingerprint, so you go to Department of Health and Correction Services, I don't remember. Department of Safety and Correction Service, I can't remember the full name. Charlie, do you remember the full name? So unfortunately they're taking up to a year. Like they'll get the order. I don't know if they wait for a year or they're just so under power right now or undermanned right now that they can't get orders processed. They can't take stuff off of your record on their end. But I think we've been waiting for about a year from the date that the order for expungement is signed before that comes off of someone's record. And that time is important because when someone when someone applies for a job, depending on the employer, sometimes they just do a case search. So um, if that's all they do, they won't see the expunge case probably within the month. But if they run a more higher level background check, which is going to get fingerprints, going through sieges, then it might take up to a year. So that's something to be something to remember in terms of turnaround and timeline. Um, I think that's pretty much it from beginning to end. And of course, if we once we have all of your orders, we'll send you a letter and we'll send you all the copies of the expungement orders that we have, so that you'll have a copy. And that will be it. Your journey with Maryland Legal Aid will come to an end. Yeah, Charlie, do you have anything you want to add or?
No.
Yeah, pretty straightforward,
It's,
right? Yeah.
yeah, it's all pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Um, I guess there are in some cases where some people think they can call and they get immediate help. That is not the case. Unfortunately, you can't just call and get a lawyer and have that happen. So we do have to go through the intake process in order to get you into our system and check for the qualifying things and everything and all those things like that. But don't be afraid of having to share that personal information. That personal information is what is going to protect you and your children and going forward. So don't be afraid of that. I can understand where people are like, oh, I don't want to give this information.
Yeah.
Why do you need this? But that information, we use that to protect you. None of that information leaves, doesn't go anywhere. It stays with us. I forget about it within like 2 weeks. It's it's given to someone else. So you're safe.
I
Don't be
don't even look at it.
don't be scared. That information is there to protect you as a client, and I think it's common to run into that. So
Yep, 100%. And I think we do our best. Coming Lawyer Initiative, at least, we do our best to streamline the whole process. The idea is that especially during the pandemic, usually before pandemic, we did clinics where we just go in the community, we sit down, and people can come in, and we'll do the intake right there. You talk to attorney right there. We print out the petition in front of you. We carry printers. We carry printers and paper, and we literally go and sit, inside. Thankfully, I think there's one time we sat outside. It was really hot. We sat like under a tent, with our like little printers and computers. But that's the life. So it used to be more immediate, but now I think we try our best to get back to you. And if you prefer to do everything over the email, that's fine too. I think we give out our email address every time as well. You can email us and we'll just email you what information we need, and it's pretty instantaneous. So yeah, I think that's how I have. Let me check. Do we have any questions? I yeah, I mean, again, if you are interested in expungement, just contact us. We're here all the time. You don't have to make a certain deadline, and you don't have to. Oh, we do have a question. But yeah, you don't have to make a deadline. And our phones take messages, so you don't um, have to have someone answer you right away. Like you can just say, here's my phone number, here's my name, I need expungements, and someone will call you back.
yeah,
um
that's just really quickly to add on to that. Um, if you call and it's a Monday and you're like, hey, I work through for the rest of the week or something, can you please, like, if you can give us a good day and time to call you in order to get in touch, that is also very helpful. Because sometimes we'll call and we'll get a voicemail, we'll call again, we'll get a voicemail. People, you have to work, you have your life, outside of this that carries on. But if we can figure out a time and place, or date and time to give you a call to get the intake started so we can get you on the road to doing better things, then please let us know.
Yep. Um, so we do have a question. I'm not sure if I understand the question. So it's a substantive question. It's about PBJ. So I would suggest I actually can't see our Facebook uh our Facebook comments live. I see it through our filter from our production engineer. So this is a legal question. If it's attorney, let's chat offline about that so I can get more information. If it's someone who's not an attorney and who's interested in knowing, hey, do I have something eligible for expungement? Just give us a call. Give us a call. We'll do everything for you. You don't even have to go to court. Well, unless there's an issue, then we strongly recommend you do show up to court hearings, as we do with any other hearings. So yes, legal issues, I will chat with the attorney offline. And that's actually pretty much it for today. With that said, I do have a big announcement. It's not about expungement. I wish it's about expungement. I love expungement so much. I could do a day in and day out. Charlie, I'm sure you're like, well, I'd rather have some variety in my life. So I do have a big announcement. So I've been promoted, still with Maryland Legal Aid, yay. I've been promoted to a supervising attorney, which means I have to step down from my role as the host of this program. However, don't fear my loyal subscribers. It doesn't not mean that we're abandoning this Lunch and Learn project. We are working on someone else taking over. So it just means that next week we're not going to have a video, really just because, believe it or not, it actually takes a little bit of planning ahead to get this program going. So I will be working with my successor to make sure that we're bringing you quality videos every week still. So no video next week, hopefully videos after that. And this is a good opportunity for me to say, make sure you are liking our Maryland Legal Aid's Facebook page. Just click the subscribe button if it's there. Just to make sure that you get updates. That way, when we do go live, you'll know. And of course, we'll be sending out, if you're within the Legal Aid organization, we'll be sending out emails as well. So with that said, thank you so much for listening. And hopefully we'll see you in a couple weeks.